Then laughing at the Fox News hosts who were just absolute jokes. It was just an embarrassment.
An embarrassment. That is MSNBC's Joe Scarborough torching Martha MacCallum and Bret Baier for their moderation efforts at a Fox News town hall with Donald Trump.
Fox News, we're going to be for DeSantis. Even DeSantis's people were like, seriously, this is a paid advertisement for Donald Trump, which it was.
Fox had promoted it as an event that would feature tough, hard-hitting questions. No.
I would call it softball, a softball event. I've never seen one as fawning. I'm not even sure why did they have two hosts there? Yeah, you know, they could have just had one to just sit there and smile and say, "You're great, ask another softball question." It was like T-ball. And even T-ball, on the biggest issue of the campaign, he swung and hit the tee and the ball rolled off because he bragged, Caddy, about terminating Roe v. Wade. Even in the most gentle of circumstances, he made an incredible political mistake, and he knows it this morning. He knows it. Incredible political mistake last night, going, I was the one who terminated Roe v. Wade. I was the one that just me, nobody else could have stripped away 50 years of women's rights the way I, Donald Trump, did. If it weren't for me, women wouldn't be like dying outside of emergency rooms because doctors are afraid to conduct women's health care. He admitted, and again, it was such an easy for him. It's not like he was backed into the corner. He admitted he was the one who terminated Roe v. Wade. And what did the Biden people do last night? They're just hanging out. They were probably laughing at all the Republican chaos in the debate and then laughing at the Fox News hosts who were just absolute jokes.
They were jokes in part because Bret Baier and Martha MacCallum didn't push back on Trump's most obvious lies. This included a moment when Trump accused Democrats of wanting to murder babies in a mother's womb at 8 months and 9 months of pregnancy and after the baby was born. The Fox hosts, in response, were silent. It was crazy because not only was Fox giving Trump a free advertisement, as Morning Joe said, but Fox was also allowing Donald Trump to amplify the most divisive and false conservative talking points about Democrats. It was as if the Fox News self-proclaimed journalists had morphed into right-wing Christian nationalists. But even the hosts on the Christian evangelical television show The 700 Club would have asked more challenging questions of Trump than we saw from Bret Baier and Martha MacCallum. Now, to Joe Scarborough's point about the politics, keep in mind that ever since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned women's abortion rights through the Dobbs decision, Republicans and the pro-life movement have lost every election and every ballot measure that involved abortion access. Even in conservative states, efforts to change the state constitution to outlaw abortion have failed and failed badly. In special congressional elections in moderate districts, Democrats running on women's rights have won convincingly. By all accounts, the moderate and independent voters who decide elections detest the elimination of women's reproductive rights. Democrats know it, most Republicans know it, and smart political analysts like the team on Morning Joe know it too. So Donald Trump bragging about eliminating Roe versus Wade is going to come back to haunt Trump and haunt the Republicans in the November elections. When Democrats drop hundreds of millions of dollars on advertisements attacking Republicans, the GOP's allegiance to restricting women's rights will be front and center. And as we've seen, it will move the needle in the Democrats' favor. That's why Democrats are sitting back right now and laughing at the GOP congressional dysfunction, the bragging by Donald Trump, and the sucking up to Trump on Fox News. Even hosts who want Republicans to win, as Fox does, should have pressed Trump on whether it's wise politically for him to take solo credit for overturning Roe. A smart political journalist, even a conservative one, would have asked that. But at Fox, the hosts are not smart. They are, as Joe Scarborough says, embarrassing. And we get reminders of that, and we get reminders of the Fox journalistic malfeasance all the time.
It's also important to point out the former president is married to an immigrant who just did a naturalization ceremony at the National Archives.
And that is Fox anchor Bret Baier trying to downplay Donald Trump's echoing of Adolf Hitler. According to Baier, it doesn't make sense.
So there's a disconnect there if that's the dog whistle he's sending. Some people are saying it is, but other people are saying it's just the words he chose.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country, from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. They're pouring into our country. Nobody's even looking at them.
To use that phrase, poisoning the blood, that really got under the skin of a lot of people, even his supporters. Is any sign that anybody in his campaign is going to try to answer that?
Not really. I think, listen, it's the word he chose. I think it raised a lot of eyebrows, not only on the Democratic side, but in Republican circles. Yeah. Obviously, it harkens back to some writings, and it's been written about in numerous articles.
Hold on, Bret. It doesn't just harken back to some writings, and it hasn't just been written about in numerous articles, as you say. Poisoning the blood of our country was one of Adolf Hitler's talking points. Why wouldn't you say that? Trump might as well have been quoting from Adolf Hitler's book, Mein Kampf. Here is the full Hitler quote. All the great civilizations of the past became decadent because the originally creative race died out as a result of the contamination of the blood. And so this poison was allowed to enter the national bloodstream and infect public life. Bret, for you to avoid mentioning Hitler and discussing Trump's remarks, well, that omission is outrageous. And never mind the segment a few weeks ago, why didn't you ask Donald Trump about quoting Hitler in the town hall? Oh, that's right. Your career at Fox News has consistently revolved around omissions and currying favor with conservatives. Back in November of 2020, Fox News' Bret Baier, often touted as one of the network's straight news reporters, was ready to give in to then-President Donald Trump, who was pressuring the network to rescind calling the state of Arizona for Joe Biden. This is according to a new book, The Divider, Trump in the White House, 2017 to 2021, written by New York Times reporter Peter Baker and New Yorker staff writer and CNN Global Affairs analyst Susan Glazer. According to the book, Baier wrote an email to Jay Wallace, the president and executive editor of Fox News, that said, the Trump campaign was really pissed. This situation is getting uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. I keep having to defend this on the air. He accused Fox News' decision desk of holding on for pride, according to the book. The book went on to say that Baier wrote in his email, it's hurting us. The sooner we pull it, even if it gives us major egg and we put it back in his column, the better we are, in my opinion. What's odd is Fox News never put Arizona in the win column for Trump. Baker and Glazer called it stunning, adding, the leading news anchor for Fox was pushing not just to say Arizona was too close to call, but to pretend that the president had won it. As it turned out, Fox News' call was correct. Biden won Arizona. But now, 3 years later, Bret Baier is still trying to boost and protect Donald Trump. Along the way, Fox News is diminishing our democracy and making our society more uninformed and dangerous. Joe Scarborough was correct. Fox News is an embarrassment. But Fox is even worse than that. Fox is literally a cancer in our society that is once again attached to Donald Trump. Beware. By the way, Georgia House Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene's pornographic obsession with Hunter Biden just came back to bite her.
Democrats should not be offended by pictures that black out.
Well, how did the president know that? How did he know that Jeffrey Epstein likes him young? Perhaps some people are saying he was there.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.